Hey y'all, it's your girl Mariah Sincere, and I'm back after a very long hiatus. Y'all, I say I'm gonna work on being consistent, but life just be lifing, okay? And sometimes I just don't be having the energy to give what it's supposed to give, okay? But I'm here, and I'm back in full effect. So before I get started, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And guys, the topic at hand is independence is not an identity, it is a life skill. Okay. And while I'm making this video, I really want to talk to a lot of the women, especially Black women. And I know, I get it, I understand, I'm biracial, I'm not Black, okay? Because I know a lot of people these days are getting offended. Y'all gotta understand, I grew up in a time where if you were mixed, you was Black, okay? Now it's just, I don't want no smoke, basically. But from a cultural perspective, I grew up in the Black community. My mother is Black, okay? And I saw a lot of the things that a lot of Black women had to experience. Or at the very least, situations that they were put in or put themselves in that required them to be hyper independent, okay? And a lot of people today talk about this as if those lived experiences are invalid and they're not real, and as if Black women just chose to be hyper independent and that social conditions were not created to affect them in a manner that made them feel like they were required to be hyper independent. Okay. And when you talk about people like that, just any group of people, it's going to be hard for them to receive that message, because a trauma response is always going to make you revert to whatever defense mechanisms that you already have in place. Okay. Most of the time, it's going to just completely be blocking out whatever a person is saying to you. Okay. So yeah, I saw a lot of Black women be put in situations where they were oftentimes the breadwinner in the home or the only person in the home taking care of children. And because just as a people, Black people don't have a lot of supports in general. It's hard for you to go ask for help. Like, for example, in a lot of other communities, like if they fall, on their face or they're having financial trouble, it's easy for them to just go ask another family member for help or even just a job. But a lot of us did not have those resources. And then I'm going to talk about my own personal experience, but I believe it's plenty of Black women like myself who have experienced this. My mom didn't do everything by herself. Matter of fact, she had no problem finding a man who was more than willing to be paying all the bills and taking care of all the responsibilities in the home when she needed it. However, there was a price that was paid for all of that. And usually I bore the cost. See, and that's that truth that y'all don't want to talk about, how a lot of Black girls had to be the sacrifice for their mother when their mother needed a man or was dependent upon a man to pay for things for them, but that man really don't want your mama. He wanted you. But I'm not even finna get into all that, okay? But that's that truth a lot of y'all don't want to hear. And that does create a trauma response in a lot of Black women to where they don't want to accept help because it feels like it's always coming with bad intentions. You're going to expect something from me if I accept this help. We even grew up hearing stuff like, don't accept anything from a man because he's going to automatically expect something from you. And it's not like there's no truth to that. Okay, so a lot of Black women have learned that there is real danger in being interdependent, specifically dependent on a man. Okay. However, it's completely unhealthy to walk around living your life like that and living your life in fear. And I know this because I grew up making things very hard and very difficult for myself because I wouldn't say when I needed help, I wouldn't ask for help, and I wouldn't accept help. Like, I would literally rather ball up on the floor and die, okay? Be up under the ground than accept help, okay? What changed is I had a daughter, okay? So I had a daughter, and then it got to the point where if I was going through something, it wasn't just me, okay? I couldn't just not accept help anymore, ask for help anymore, because now I have a child that is dependent upon me. And if I don't ask for the help that I need and things in my life start to snowball, it doesn't only just affect me, it affects my child who is dependent upon me. Okay, so a lot of times having a child will make you humble, but to an extent. I ain't never been humble enough to allow a man that I knew was going to be dangerous or had ill intentions around my daughter. You understand? So that was always my biggest fear. But then I also realized, again, this was impacting my quality of life, like it's impacting a lot of other women's quality of life. So I had to find a happy medium, and this happened just by living life and being humbled by life, but also by me making conscientious efforts. And it was small steps. So for example, I have a maintenance man. He would ask me like, hey, can I, you need help with your groceries? He'd see me like groceries all up and down my arms, okay? And then also I'm trying to carry this big old pack of water up the stairs. And at first he would ask me if I needed help, and I would say, no, I got it, knowing I'm struggling, knowing I'm tired, knowing I had a hard day, and I still got to come home and be the parent that I need to be for my child. I still was not accepting any help from this man. Mind you, a man who had been nothing but kind to me, a man who had never catcalled me or made any inappropriate gestures toward me, a man who had only talked with me about the maintenance of my apartment. So it started by me accepting help from him first, instead of being like, no, I don't need the help. Actually humbling myself and be like, okay, yeah, I actually could use some help right now, you know, and then being grateful, because at the end of the day, nobody owes you any help. You understand? So it would be small things, and then it turned into like bigger things when need be. And it's just amazing to see how far I've come from being the person who would literally, like, if I thought about having to ask somebody for help with the smallest thing, I would cry. Okay, I would literally cry and be terrified of it. To now where if I do need to ask for help or accept help, I can. But again, it started with small steps like that. Also, I understand the need to feel like you have to hold on to independence as an identity, like that's all you have. You feel like you're not even valuable as a person sometimes unless you can be this independent woman. But ladies, I'm here to tell you, it's okay to let it go, okay? You don't have to hold on to it. It is a life skill. It's a life skill in the same way that doing roofing or construction or doing hair or doing eyelashes, or anything like that is a skill, a marketable skill. Okay, for example, somebody who is a brick mason is not laying bricks everywhere that they go. That wouldn't make sense. Okay, they're gonna lay the bricks at the time and the place that it is appropriate to do so for the proper compensation. Okay, same thing. It is awesome that Black women have developed skills for independence, okay? Because life is so unpredictable that you never know when you're going to have to do something yourself or figure out something for yourself. That's not a bad thing, okay? But there are also going to be times where you have to be interdependent, when it's necessary, when it's more productive, when it's more conducive to not only your growth, but the growth of other people around you. And if you're holding on to your independence, in that situation, it's going to be detrimental to everybody in the situation, okay? Just because you lay that independence down for a second does not mean that you can never pick it back up. And I think a lot of women, especially Black women, had a genuine fear of this, okay? That if I let go of this independence for a second, I'm just gonna lose myself. I'm gonna lose my entire identity, and I'm gonna put myself in a position to be a victim, okay? And I understand, like, accepting help does put you in a vulnerable position, but vulnerability is not always, and it's often not a bad thing, guys. You just have to learn how to have a spirit of discernment, especially when you are accepting help from men. And how I work that out is this. If a man is showing romantic interest in me in any type of way, if I see that some romantic interest is shown and the man is offering me help, I don't accept that help. Okay? I don't accept it, because you never know if he's going to be the type that's going to, because he helped you, even though you never promised anything to him romantically, you never know if he's going to be the type to get upset because you continued accepting his help. So now he feels used. Okay. Some people will say that's a good thing to do. That's an okay thing to do, or he should have known better. But I mean, it's 2023. It's too much crazy stuff going on. You don't even want to play with your life like that. You don't want to play with his emotions like that. You just don't want to do it. Okay. So in order to be safe, don't accept help from men who are romantically, liking on you like that, and you're not feeling them like that. Okay. However, not every man wants something from you. Okay. Not every man does. I know that might sound crazy, but there are men who will do things for you just because they like to, or just because that's how they treat all women. Okay. Same thing, it's not just men. Don't accept help from even women who are going to expect something from you that you're not willing to give. Okay, it doesn't always have to be romantic. As soon as you see that somebody wants something from you that you're not willing to give them, then do not accept the help. Okay, that's also called moving with some integrity. Okay, that's called moving with discernment. That is going to help you with your fears of being victimized because somebody wants something from you that you're not willing to give, okay, or that you're uncomfortable with giving. Okay, so I mean, everything in life is dynamic. Okay, it's ever changing. The situations are fluid, and you need to learn how to be just as fluid. You need to learn how to have a spirit of discernment so that you can assess the situation. But what is completely unhealthy to do is to operate in a space of independence because you have a false belief that something is always going to happen to you, or you are always going to be viewed as weak for accepting help. Black women, it is okay to let it go. Independence is not an identity, it is a life skill. Y'all have a good night.